start with Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo, all right? This guy, you know, everybody was getting mixed things about him, thinking different things, but I'll tell you what, he was just flat out really good. And the mannerisms, the way he spoke, the looks, the expressions, the things he gave throughout the movie were just really good. Alden Ehrenreich did his own kind of thing of Han Solo, and he really did nail it in several ways throughout the movie. Relationships-wise, it really worked. The movie as a whole just worked with him as a centerpiece as Han Solo. I think Lucasfilm did a really good job casting him in this role, and I really give him a lot of praise for that. We have Kira, played by Emilia Clarke. I think she was great. Honestly, she had a lot of charisma, and playing Daenerys on Game of Thrones, she always had this, strong female personality, which she has it in Solo, but she has more of a softer, kinder way. And her relationship with Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo is really great. From the get-go, they develop it right away that these two have known each other since they were kids, and it goes into the future 3 years later, and we find out what happens later with them. And overall, throughout the whole movie, it just develops and develops and develops, and you see their romantic relationship, their friendship, the trust in one another, and it gets tested, and you see through the movie. I'm not going to give away anything about the movie, but you see through the movie between both Kira and Solo that there's the things that kind of get in their way, and the 3 years time that when they were kids and things broke them apart a little bit, what changed in their lives and what different paths and things they had to take and different decisions they had to make. So I think that was a really cool way where they took the Han Solo character and putting this female, this girl in his life, besides as Princess Leia being his, future one he loves, future one he has a kid with, being Ben Solo. And I think having Kira as this character that he's someone he loves shows the growth of Han Solo, and I thought that was really cool. And Emilia Clarke just nailed it as Kira, and that whole chemistry relationship and her character growth for the movie as well has a very surprising twist at the very end, and how she decided which way to go, and her little journey was very good. I think Woody Harrelson as Beckett was very good. I think I wouldn't say really a mentor to Han, but something to Han Solo, he becomes into the Imperial military. He finds out Beckett's really kind of a guy just pretending to be an Imperial guy, and he finds out who, he wants to do something, doesn't really want to do that. He's doing this for a reason. He's in the Imperial Army to try to get out of it and trying to find ways to save his own self. But in finding his own self, he finds Beckett, and he finds another lady. I'll put it in the description, put it above. But he finds her, and her and Beckett both have this great thing going on. Then Woody Harrelson, the relationship in the movie starts out pretty good, and that's something that grows on it, and you see how that goes on. But how the introduction of Han Solo and Chewie is just great. It just fits the whole thing. It fits the movie so well, and it's just their chemistry. Solo and Han and Chewie is just fantastic. The back and forth, it just reminds you so much of the original trilogy, of how they communicate, the looks, the side comments between Chewie and Solo, and in different parts of the movie. It was just fantastic, and I give thumbs up for both actors. Doing both playing was just great. Chewie did such a great job. Or Jonas was his first name. He does such a good job playing him, and Alden just so great as Han Solo, and it worked so well. And and we get back to Woody Harrelson and his character Beckett with Val. Woody and Val do a great job of developing romantic chemistry at the very beginning. The only downside I say with the play of that is that due to certain things that happen in the movie, there's not a lot of time for them to develop a relationship, and I think it gets kind of cut short. And a few other characters kind of get cut short too. You have Jon Favreau's character that gets cut short. The alien monkey dude, I can't remember his name. But you have a lot of other things that happen that get a little cut short, and I think that takes away a little bit from the movie. But overall, it's still, those characters still really work. Great action set pieces. The whole train sequence I thought was fantastic. Just the first kind of heist scene was just worked real well, and I thought that just the special effects, the visual effects, the VFX, all that combined with it just worked just brilliantly through that whole sequence of the train, the heist with Chewbacca, Solo, Beckett, the whole crew. It looked real good, and it just was flawless, and I loved it, and that was awesome. Let's see, we go into that, we go into introducing new characters, we go into introducing Paul Bettany as Dryden Voss, which I think, you know, as a villain, I know because of the rewrites with Lord and Miller, the original guy playing him, they had to cut it and they took scripts and refinished it and changed things. I thought he was a decent villain. There was nothing crazy about him, you know, he was a your typical bad guy. You knew that from the start. He served the purpose of the story. You know, he was basically a do this or die kind of guy. You know, working. Beckett was working for him to get these things for him. These stuff for the I forgot what they're called, the dang things. But he went on this mission to get all this different like nuclear kind of material stuff, and that was basically their main point of the whole movie was to get that. Point of that sequence was to get that. You know, that was interesting. And then you have Enfy's Nest. I think it's Enfy's Nest, which is a really cool side character with a big old weapon and the big old mask. And that character has a real twist at the end too. And that's the character's kind of going back and forth with Beckett, challenging their team, and they're always on their team trying to get what they're trying to get after, the same kind of material that they're trying to get, these weaponous kind of, you know, nuclear kind of things that are worth a lot of money and are trying to be used for different for weapons and different things. So there's a kind of back and forth between them, Enfy's Nest character and Woody Harrelson's character, and those two go back and forth, and that's a big journey between those two throughout the movie. There's a lot of good scenes in the movie. The scene with Dryden Voss was really cool. His like cantina scene and his big old kind of, I guess it's like a big old ship kind of thing, was pretty cool. Kind of a little different taste on a cantina with a different singer and how it's very fancy and kind of, it's like the underworld but kind of rich in taste. It's pretty interesting scene, but pretty cool imagery, cool things that happen there. There's a lot of things I think is really fun that happens in the movie. I thought Donald Glover's Lando was great, fantastic, perfect nail on the head. Billy D. Williams, I think, would be very proud of Lando. Just the whole, just person, just the character, the sentiment of it all. I think it just worked brilliantly, and I just honestly loved it. I think he was great. Just the whole Sabacc game with you know, him doing his thing and Han Solo coming in, I think it worked well. And Lando throughout the movie going to the spice mine, to Kessel with Kira, with the crew, with Beckett, with everybody. I think it was really good. I think there was a lot of good things that happened in that. The Millennium Falcon looks also a lot different. You have the more, you know, newer Falcon with the front part all packed on, which happens to be an escape pod that, you know, they have the inner part that's usually a hole right there. They put a little space right there, which is that. Lando's has his super nice quarters, his bar, his huge cape room. He has all his super stuff in the Millennium Falcon, and you see Han walk into the cockpit. It's all cool and stuff, and it's really neat. And you also got Phoebe, I forgot, was it Phoebe Waller, I think, is the L3, the droid, and L3 is Lando's droid, and she's kind of defending Lando. She thinks that droids should have rights and all these different things. She speaks out about everything, doesn't have a filter, so she's kind of, I mean, she's all right. I wasn't really totally thrilled with L3. I mean, I really loved Lando, but L3 was all right. You know, the droid she was okay. But Lando's relationship with her was actually pretty good. They had a pretty good, solid relationship, very different, but it was good. And then when they went to Kessel, she was a big part of the whole bang up, getting things started, just craziness happening. A lot of cool things happened there. I think the heist was decent. I think it might have ran a little bit too long. I think that would be my one complaint with the heist scene of the whole, on Kessel, you know, the spice mines and all that. but to getting there's certain chemical, their little nuclear things that Dryden Voss wants from them, so they can procure it and make it, because I guess it's more like a lethal kind of thing, that it's uncured on that planet of Kessel, so they need to bring it to somewhere else and to get this stuff for him. And I think that's an interesting thing. But yeah, the whole kind of heist going there and getting it was just kind of slow. Could have been a little faster. And then the escaping from the Kessel Run itself, going through this kind of cloud that leads to Kessel, and then coming back out of it. And I think it was only about 20 parsecs, this little bubble, this little path. But they made it in 12, and Han Solo took over, and you know, he does his thing. A lot of crazy, cool stuff happens in this whole Kessel Run thing, and the Millennium Falcon just stands out. We got the whole classic old Star Wars music. Dun, 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 dun. You got the Empire Strikes Back music from the asteroid belt scene. You got the cool Millennium Falcon, awesome, cool music. So I thought that was a really good part of the movie. That was probably one of my favorite parts, was the whole Falcon flying through the whole Kessel Run part. That was probably the most stand-out part. And then you had going through the end of the movie. The end of the movie is really good. A lot of cool surprises and twists and turns. Big, huge cameo at the end of the movie. I'm not going to give it away, but dang, was it something I did not expect. I thought there would be something that come up with something dark and mysterious, a hooded figure possibly. I'll just give a hint. It's a hooded figure, maybe a Sith, maybe not, but it was really cool and how it's tied into the Star Wars lore, to Star Wars canon, and it just worked, and that was just awesome. I loved how they tied it in. Han Solo, the movie was just a fun time, guys. I really loved it from start to finish. Just a whole lot of fun. There was a lot of good new characters. Oh man, it was a fun summer ride. Overall, the movie is great, and I just really loved it, enjoyed it. Really good fun. I'm gonna do a new scale here on like a A to F rating. I'm gonna give this movie, for me, I'm gonna give it a solid B. And a B for Bravo, Solo. Comment down below and let me know what you thought about my review, and also what did you think about Solo, or if you haven't seen it, what are you excited to find out? What are you looking forward to most about Solo? Press the subscribe button, like the video, and make sure to check out some other videos. We got the my Deadpool 2 review, and we got the Backstreet Boy music video reaction. Check that one out too. It's a great video. Me and my wife, Ace versus Spence. Really cool Star Wars spin-off lightsaber short film. And stick around for more videos to come in the future with me and my boy Isaiah. We got other videos to come, and we'll talk to you guys again soon. Peace.
Why, you stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.
Who's scruffy-looking?